Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to the hum of fans and the swirl of airs as this installment of an It Came From the Workbench series is being recorded while it is 104 degrees outside. 104 degrees Fahrenheit. A hail and hearty welcome to the Canyon. This is, if you can believe it, and you have no choice. Perception may be reality, but this is the reality you're in right now. This is the Canyon reality. It Came From the Workbench Volume 1, whose first episode debuted on the 27th of December in the year of our Lord, 2021. We are some significant ways past that. Episode 9, installment 9 of Volume 1, aired on in April, I can't recall the day, somewhere in the middle of April 2023. This is being recorded in July of 2025. So when they say they're never done, they well and truly are never done. When I began, It Came From the Workbench, Volume 1, what I wanted to do was I wanted to take a VS410 chassis, which is most of what's under here, and I wanted to pair it with TRX4 axles. The VRX410, the Tranquish. It was the first tucked body I ever bought. It was a lot of first things. He is now the recipient of many hand-me-downs. He began on a 3-gear gearbox and only much later adopted a VFD twin out of a Phoenix. So he's in, if anything, he became more TRX4 axled Phoenix over time. In the last installment, in Volume 9, over 2 years ago, he got hardlined, which is, I just cut very simple... Did you all hear that? I cut very simple flat chassis rails, and I already had a body that had post holes in it. So I literally cut the rails to fit the old Vanquish towers. This is the old Vanquish tower positions, purely to retain the body mount positions. That is the kind of laziness I can appreciate. And he drove for many, many moons with this apparatus right here over on the side, because he had lockers, variable overdrive, dig, steering, 5, count them, 5 servos, 4 of these JX 4409s, and then the very slow and growly 9iMod 50 kg, 60 kg direct power. It is slow, it is loud, but it won't stop working. Hand-me-down parts. He's got RTR element shocks. I believe these are off of Lil Yella, the Ecto, and again, they work just fine. So he remained in that position where he was. Once this chassis was fixed to him, he stayed in that exact state of affairs for over 2 years. And then what happened is, since before his first birthday, he's been running RC 4-wheel drive Baja Claws in X2SS. They're not even exceptionally worn. Pretty slow wearing tire for how soft the compound is. But what happened is, over time, whether through degassing or just simply the environment, the polymer that makes rubber stopped polymering. So they kind of... something bad happens to them. They become very taffy-like, and they basically tore off of his wheels. So because I knew that these were going to have to be replaced, I would, you know, 'tis not the Canyon way to simply go on a site of ordering and pick ourselves up another set of Baja Claws, because we've been running these for years. What if there's something better? A great many tires have been released since we mummed these on there, and there's a chance that as we go through the process, the outdoor portion of this, there is every chance that none of the tires stacked up behind me, soon to be stacked up before you, will be the ones that sing the song and spark the joy. But we hope that they will. So, I pulled them apart. Are they still on the bench? Yes. This is a piece of Delrin. It has an 8mm hole in the middle, and it is about, I think it's 14 millimeters on the outside. And what that does is that replaces a locker. It just takes the regular gear-filled Traxxas guy and turns it into a spool. You can also do it with a 5/16 flat washer for about 15 cents. But it prevents me from having to buy spools. It just allows us to remove those two servos. And if we're already... I did put a screw in there. If we're going to remove those two servos, we might as well go micros for operation, shave a little more weight off of them. Our design, I had this one laying in a bin, very nice, just simple bolt-on. I did not have a similar bolt-on contraption to do OD, so I instead just cut an aluminum plate, drilled some holes in it, mounted the servo in, mounted up a horn, threw it on their blitz ends throughout because higher clearance, they clear things a lot better. And that was about it for the body modifications. Now, the removal of this right here, and then the taking out of two more half-height servos, we did dump a good amount of weight. We dumped a fair amount of weight. Not a lot of weight. It is still not super light because, as you can see, if you ignore the shiny silver parts, it's still a VS410. It's got the side pieces, it's got the VFD skid, it's got the rear piece with the bumper mounts, it's got the big whole front bulkhead area, it's got all of the pieces. So he is not remarkably light, but we're okay with that. This is it came from the Workbench 1. He is what he is. TRX4 axles, as mentioned, with the GRC high clearance knuckle kit up front, the big chunky Amazon weights, even with the amount of plastic that's on him, he is very forward heavy. Some STRC mounts in the back. I believe it's aluminum. Yeah, link mounts throughout. He's just a cobble. Look at that link to clear to get a TRX4 panhard mount, because look how inboard a TRX4 panhard is. And an F10 panhard mount is way over here. But he works, and he's fun to drive, and he might not be the most capable thing in the entire fleet, but he's kind of a looker. There was a real problem child painting the body. But we got there. The body has best days are definitely behind it. Might have to glue some little plastic discs in there to keep him from punching out the rest of the way. He's doing all right. He's doing all right. And we love all of our babies equally. We play no favorites. So, today is the triple T, maybe quadruple T. If this is originally uploaded on a Tuesday, that will just fill it out on the quadruple T. Tranquish's Tire Testival. The Tire Testival that we do is a thing here that was basically sprung from an installment of From the Comments, where somebody said, hey, could you do tusks versus holds? And I was like, that's ridiculous. And the holds were better. What? On that day, on that rig, on the rig that we decided to test them on, the holds were better. That rig is still fitted with holds to this very day. So it got me to thinking, you run a tire, that tire, pretty good, pretty darn good, one of my favorite tires. But what if? And you don't know until you know. So, Tranquish's Tire Testival takes place here, and it came from the Workbench Volume 1, Episode 10. And I didn't get to show you any of this stuff because this was mindless labors to bolt these on, adjust endpoints, move things around, adjust endpoints, move things around, delete the side piece, move. This used to be right up on top. We moved it down to the side. He is fitted with, it should be pointed out, a belt drive. I don't know how well you can see it. And a Fusion Pro 2300, because if you take a VFD and pair it to TRX4 axles, your gear reduction is, I want to say, pre-belt drive, when it was still like 1556 pinion spur, around 100 to 1. The belt drive drops it down into the 70s, so like 72 to 1, which means even on a Fusion Pro 2300, which is limited to 3S, he's not blistering fast, but he has all the mechanical advantage in the world. We are going to do bracket style single eliminations here, with maybe a wild card round if questions arise in my head. Injora Klingons in S5 with the green inserts. The green might be too soft for him, but we've done this enough times that we can kind of take them into allowance. KLR comp spec V2s with halos, air downs, and ultra air downs and air downs. So we will run the ultras in the front and the air downs in the rear. Will those be too soft for him? Not necessarily, because the KLR has proven to me in the past to be a tire that likes a bit of ground pressure, and he can exhibit that ground pressure. Traxxas cut canyon trail, not just cut and siped to the moon and feathered in. Also, you'll notice there's a trio of 105s across here. Ordinarily, he ran deep offset wheels. I do not have enough deep offset wheels to run these on deep offset wheels. So that we're running on almost nothing but 105s. There's 2 flyers in here because they were already mounted and I didn't want to move them. Cut siped canyon trails on Scoric Cling inserts, which are 3D printed inserts, which look a little bit like flowers. Here is a representative of that. And they're really oversized. And when you put them in, you twist them into the wheel so they load over like that. So they're basically like preloaded inserts. This feels very, very firm in the hand. And then when you feel this, you're like, oh, what? We have 3 or 4 other sets of tires here on rigs running Scoric Clings, and they have not let us down. Got to get an RC 4-wheel drive in there. RC 4-wheel drive Groundhog 2s on some, I want to say, they're either Dash RC something. They're clones of Trials, and they are fitted with a 3D printed insert of unknown manufacturer and origin. They might be Brorbs. Some of these were pre-mounted, so I didn't take them apart. Pre-mounted. I didn't have to mount them up. A second set, a wild card set of, because these are included for a singular reason. This is what I would call the Canyon Standard. We have a cut canyon trail filled with a Canyon Custom Soft, which is 2 wraps of fridge foam around a Tim-Tin inner on a 105. That is the baseline, no pun intended, of the Canyon tire that we run here. And I'd like to see, so in the bracket, probably those 2 head-to-head against each other. Whichever one suits the Tranquish Mo better will be the one that moves on to go up against the next bracket. J Concepts Boss Man, similarly fitted with Canyon Customs. I'm not going to bother with any of the others to be like, oh, I'm going to put those against those, because these are all going to get dumped in a duffel bag and carry them out together. I'll probably have to bring a little thing to scribble notes on because I will get them confused. J Concepts Boss Man Green Compound 105s Canyon Customs inside. Dirt Tracks Deep Woods, well feathered, with squid inserts in them. Squid insert fitted Deep Woods could be the ticket, but no, we won't know until we know. Closing it out in this group of 8, J Concepts Rock Blocks, which we still haven't found. These tires did so excellent, muy excelente on the test. We haven't found the rig that sings their song. I kind of hope it's this one. They are fitted with custom printed 3D printed inserts, which look exactly like these, but instead of soft and super soft, which I have sitting over there, they are medium and firm, because as I said, ground pressure. We might, these softs are soft. I feel like we just power bagged the fronts out, but that's not necessarily a negative, because we have experienced in the past on more than one occasion, we'll set up a combo that just power bags, and we take it out there and we go, what? Huh? Steering doesn't suffer, forward drive doesn't suffer, maneuverability doesn't suffer. Too much compliance in the tire, meaning too much of, well, these guys will do it because they're 3. Too much of this is only too much if it starts to hinder your ability to maneuver the vehicle. Otherwise, there ain't no such thing as too soft. There is definitely such a thing as too firm on an insert, because then you get no compliance, and then it don't work right. So I limited it to 8. I've got a set of D440s over here. I think these are D440s, or the other ones are D440. I don't know. There's a lot. I don't want to say that there's a lot of inserts at the end of the bench, but there's another set of these. There's yet another set of Canyon. I could have mounted up 12, 13, 14 sets of tires. Let's keep it less ridiculous. We have a very good chance of one of these 8. Almost like a 1 in 8 chance of one in this 8 singing a song that we like. I have memories of what this can do. We basically do the 3 points where we bounce. We go Slick Rock, Staircase, and Daphne's Line at Undertaker. We do those 3 points. There will probably be 2 finalists. We will take those 2 finalists, whoever they may be, and they will each get a single pass run at Green Line, and that's how we'll decide. That's how we'll decide. And honestly, knowing the quirks and proclivities of the Tranquish, I have no idea which combo he will prefer. And then we will most likely unmount whatever tire it is and put them on his deep wheels, which are in the beadlock drawer right behind me, because why would we take his wheels away? He's had to have his wheels changed like 3 times now. We'll also see, as I said, he runs every day on deeps. He's going to be about 8 millimeters narrower, and these, he'll be about 10 millimeters, 10 to 12 millimeters narrower in these. So we'll see how that narrowness affects. And then hopefully we can use interpolation and extrapolation. And if we say, oh, the groundhog looked great, but it needs more sidewall support, or the groundhog looked great, or the KLR looked great, but it looked like it needed more support, or the rock block looked great, but it needs more compliance, we can shuffle. We can shuffle. So that is what we're gonna do, and what you're gonna do, hopefully, is continue watching it, and a result is a result, and what we hope for at the best is a good outcome. 1 in 8 chance of finding something that sings. I've made the mistake of, I want it to be rock blocks, so I'll be sad if and or when it isn't, but we will run what works, and we won't be mad about it, because honestly, I wouldn't be mad about it on the success of any of them. I want all of them to be happy. So, come with me, if you will, out to the course, which, you know, a little insight. It's actually going to take place like 12 hours from now, because, as I said, it's 104 outside, and we'll be out there at crack of dawn. I will see you tomorrow, which for you will be in about 3 seconds. We are out on the course in force. The sun also rises 70, 2170 is about what it is right now. I learned yesterday that 68 degrees Fahrenheit is 20 degrees Celsius, so that one I'll probably be able to remember. Here we got a little bit of whiteboard. Look how fluorescent that looks. Klingons! First up, there's a basic bracket, because I would most likely forget what tire has already run and try to bolt up something else. Okay, I went a little brisk at it. Okay, hold on. Give the Klingons a minute. Okay, there we go. Is the PSI too much? This is also small. This is small overdrive, because whatever tire goes needs to exhibit proficiency. I think we do have a PSI issue here. Like, the compound is giving it its all. It's going for it, but I think the tire width, I think the insert, that shape of the silicone, it's trying to keep it tidy. See those little dropbacks, which we can initiate through steering. Okay, dig just remember when I said we'd we'd made a lot of changes? Sometimes you got to give it another 5% or so. Yeah, it doesn't have that immediacy that I would like, and I just want to say that it's probably PSI. And we would, if we go to a more firm insert, like if we go to a blue, I think then that's going to hurt the compliance because we're not over bagging, they're not over squishing out. I think it's like I get right in here, they feel uncertain. Dig check. They pull a little. They get a little bullied around. I still think that including the S4 and the S5 pin, I think that the Klingon has been the most balanced tire I've seen from Enduro. Like it's got that rupture flavor. I think it's just getting muscled out. Yeah, see right there? I'd like to see more on that pivot. These are not bad. This right here, this is why tire testivals occur. Because you would run this tire and you'd go, you know what? It is solidly okay. And then you never try a different one. And then you never know. And not knowing is not knowing. Because, well, here's the thing. We just did that, right? So that's how we'll do it. The group of 8 will just do the circuit right here at Slick Rock. When we get to the group of 4, we'll see if we need to branch. We'll branch out. We'll do staircase and we'll do the others. Yes. And then for the final, they'll do they'll do green line. Yeah, that sounds good. You know what? We make it up as we go along, and that sounds great. Up second. X2SS RC 4-wheel drive Groundhog. It is a modest increase in the feel of forward drive. What I think I'm noticing most is this particular wheel, the Trial clones, these are heavy. And the Groundhog is a little more receptive to the PSI. It's not worlds better. This is little stuff. Dig check. I mean, yeah, we got a lot of that. The flowers are never ending. Why should I make my bed? I'm just going to unmake it again. That's the flowers. Why should I rake them up? There's just going to be more. It smells like cigarettes out here too, which is the Palo Verde. The natural odor of the Palo Verde smells like unsmoked cigarettes. No explanation why. I don't know how they work. Yeah, dig performance on a bed of flowers is a tough one to. It's a tough one to categorize. It is by a reasonably narrow margin, but a margin nonetheless. It is the Groundhog 2 over the Klingon. I think just because of contact patch. The insert in these feels even softer. Why are you making me get up? Why are you making me get up? And these are not, they're not pushing my hair back. A little bit better on the dig. Forward drive is slightly higher. They feel better pretty much across the board. So I realize the little lines I've drawn, there's really not enough room to write Groundhog in. I tried and did not do well. So carrying on, hog. First into the quarterfinals, RC 4-Wheel Drive, Groundhog 2. In the 3-hole, squidded deep woods on squid inserts. It, again, man, are we talking about subtle differences here. I would put, if this weren't a bracket format, I would put the deep woods just behind the groundhogs. Can kind of bully it a little. Oh, they like the big OD. They like the big old D. Let's stay in the big OD for a minute here. Ooh, Big Dig is real snappy. It just gets into that. Almost, it feels a bit more like the Klingon when it gets right here than it does like the Groundhog. I can't do the big OD. It brings the wheel speed up too much, and you feel like you lose a bunch of precision. Yeah, just shoots through on the small OD. Oh, this is not unanticipated. But this is not what is desired, let's just say. What we want is we want to see somebody come out and just knock everybody else out. Just Mike Tyson in the first round, and you go, man, that's good. At this point, after we've made a couple wraps, the performance of the deep woods and the performance of the groundhog are virtually indistinguishable. That is a genuine problem. Filling out the left-hand side of the bracket, J Concepts, Boss Man, Canyon Customs. It drives more. It's our first appearance of green, and it's not really very surprising. Oh, pull it. Okay. A little scrabbly. Probably, so Canyon Customs in there, for his outfit, probably calls for something a little bit softer. We're not quite getting the conversion in compliance, turning it into drive, but it's probably going to be pretty stable here on the way down, and it's not going to overload. No. That was an impromptu dig turn. I want to get a real dig turn over here. Oh, yeah. The maneuverability feels better. If you like a crawler, by that I mean with the K, the Boss Man is your single best alternative. Oh, we can just almost pull that. Feels like an old pair of shoes. Like we just dropped right in. Okay, that was small OD. Go big OD and see how it feels, because big OD on the deep woods we had nothing. Yep. It's a little bit of a Tyson. It's a, you little turd. Argentine ants, little black ones, they do indeed bite. And it's like a pinch, like getting a really fine needle, just a little one of those. It doesn't, like, I don't think they've got anything venomous. Venomous is the word I'm looking for. They don't inject anything. They just give you a little nibble. The mosquitoes have found me. Boss man with the walk away over the deep woods. Like, in my estimation, not even close. First up, in the right-hand bracket, the Scoric Cling Fitted Cut Siped Canyon Trails. Now see, they are an insert that feels really stiff on the bench, but that was the most consistent drive up the face that we'd seen so far. There was no scrabbling there. Pull around right there. Yeah, there's a really nice manipulability, the ability to maintain directionality. The rocks don't get to bully you around. This would also do really well in side hill situations because you're not going to over compress that thing. Preloaded inserts, really sharp through there, very tighty. Oh, the dig looks pretty good. Ooh, it is definitely getting better. Pretty nice so far. We'll see this against a Canyon Custom here momentarily. Yeah, really precise. This feels like a 95% setup here. That's really close. This is the setup so far that I have not noticed any width reduction. So even not being on the -10 wheels, these feel wider. We do have to dig test. Reasonable. Yeah, they're driving forward pretty great. We'll dig, come across. We'll dig again. Really nice. The dig feels really organic. Go to Big OD, because the boss man really had a shine right here. Yeah, gets a little knocked around. Find the spot. Ooh, marginally not as excellent in the Big OD. Dig, okay, not as good as the boss man, not surprisingly, because the boss man is basically non-directional and Canyon Trolls are not just very directional, explicitly directional. There's an arrow on the sidewall. Overall, though, that was quite good. Now we're gonna see, does all that cutting and siping make a difference? How will the Canyon Customs match up against a 3D printed? As we hit the rock, 3/4 of the way in, custom fitted Canyon Trails, the prototypical Crawler Canyon setup. Oh, okay, yeah. They don't feel as, there's a little bit of an initial bite, like there's a little bit more of a roll, but that's just on the straight ascent. Let's see. I will tell you, 3/4 of the way through, meaning, there's transition time in between. I've got to change tires and whatnot. The thing of the desert, it isn't so much about the heat itself. And I would never be one to say that 70 degrees is hot. But it has been less than 30 minutes since we initiated this and where we are now. And the temperature has risen 4 degrees in 30 minutes. And the humidity has dropped at least 5%. I haven't checked it. I'll check it after we finish the round of 8. before we go to the quarters. This, much as I said about the Boss Man, where it feels like an old pair of shoes, this feels really like an old pair of shoes. Like I feel like I know where these are gonna go. It is, in most cases, not the grabbiest combo that you're going to encounter. But man, are they close. And if an insert fits in a deep woods, it fits in a canyon trail. They're basically the same width, height, everything. So we could put those squids in a set of canyon trails. At this point, I want rock blocks to work. The only way you're going to see a squidded canyon trail on here is if the rock blocks are an outright failure. This is 5%, 6%, whatever they want to call it. It's the small one. It felt middle groundy. Need to hit it again. Yeah, Big OD still works, but it feels a little bit like you're falling out of control. This is another one. It is not a walk-off. I have to pick one of the two, and I think that cut and sipe might have been the difference, because I would give the narrowest edge. This is big overdrive. I would give the narrowest overdrive to the cling fitted set. In the 7-hole, the single most expensive combo that we will see today. Comp specs with Halo air downs and ultra air downs. And they do exactly what one would anticipate. Little to nothing in the way of slide there. There is that precision. Yeah. When you can hold steer, get a fixed steering position, and you can maneuver with that fixed steering position, and the rocks aren't aren't battering you around, that is significant. That is something I look for. This is, of course, the tire and insert from a OT6 Wizard kit, and I still contend that it is not the optimal tire insert combo, because I don't think that the Wizard generates enough ground pressure to utilize these. And this is good. This is the highest level of maneuverability that I have seen so far. And the dig looks phenomenal. Yeah, the on throttle positionability is kind of the highest so far. Like almost approaching the consistency of the Boss Man. But in terms of performance at differing levels of throttle, yeah, it's these. And with those ultra air downs in the front, look when we go across really properly irregular terrain. Picking up ants everywhere I go. Oh wait, we didn't do a proper dig test here. It's just tighter. Turns in tighter. Even less hesitations, the fewest hesitations. Oh, it might be the KLRs. My hopes My hopes ride on the final tire of the first round, the rock block. I want him to, I want him to work, which is probably what's going to make them not. In terms of advantages, the 8-hole has it. J Concepts rock block, green compound, split density inserts, medium fronts, firm rears. I'm looking at all of it. I'm looking at where does the stability, how does that look? How does the turn in, how does the ability to maintain position? Remember what I said about the KLR with that responsiveness to alterations in throttle input? Even more. Oh, it may have been a mistake putting the KLR up against these. I shouldn't have put the two Canyon trails up against each other because they were so close. Now I'm having to interpolate. If it was the Scorix versus the KLRs, it's the KLRs. And if it's the rock blocks versus the customs, it's the... We're going to have to see the... Yeah. All right. Here's what it looks like right now. Okay? So the Scorix beat those. We should have had the down there and then the KLRs there and then the rock blocks there. So instead of looking like that, memorize that. Instead of that, what we should have seen was this. We'll go across instead. So we're gonna like that. So instead of ordinarily the bracket would go this way, we're gonna go this way. So the Groundhog versus the KLR and the Bossman versus the rock block. So it's green on green combat and the Groundhog versus the KLR. Honestly, I could have and should have probably forecasted this. We need to do 2 approaches here. In terms of the driving experience, it's rock block, man. It is rock block so far. I think the inserts have settled. Woo, Big Dig is a whip. Man, that's really good. That's really good. I would almost just wash hands. But it is Slick Rock. Slick Rock is not the ultimate determiner, but that was strong. So we've got our quarterfinals. Rock Block versus Bossman. KLR versus Groundhogs. We go in reverse order because these are already mounted. Rock Block up first. I'm going to do a little bit of a modified 5 points because this is how I get my steps in. Because we're going to have to walk all the way back to move tires. Excellent. Getting a little bit of compression at the back. Little standy hop. I was in between overdrives. That's a wide shot that I don't want to see. It's a wide shot I don't want to see. Oh, but that dig is really good. Ooh, I was gonna say if you get that edge hooked, you're good to go. And then it just cut away on me. Right there, right there. I don't like that. I don't like that. It's like a 1.5 points right there. I'm gonna come across over, breach on. A little hesitation, nothing terrible. I'm looking for not those hops in the middle. The precision is precise. Precision is precise. Just really solid. Not super solid, but really solid. That was excellent. The rock block is doing a thing where we're talking about a relative level of performance where we would see what suspension alterations we can make to better accommodate the tire. That was an 8.5 out of 10 performance on that little split job. Boss man, what do you got? All right, second go with the green. This is a little stiffer all around, relatively speaking, on the customs. Oh. Kind of getting the same sort of bag. Oh, I might as well. If you blind tested it, you wouldn't know. They feel exactly the same. Show me sharper. Nope. Oh man. It's exactly the same. Oh. If you didn't know what tire you were on, you wouldn't know. Completely different insert. They are as close enough as to approximate being identical. The 3D printed advantage shows itself only in that moment of absolute specificity, where you have an insert that perfectly matches the tire, the vehicle, the PSI that's being generated, all of it. I would give a narrow edge to the Canyon Custom between these two, like rock block with a Canyon Custom maybe. It's indistinguishable. It's indistinguishable. The categoric opposite of what we had anticipated / hoped for, which was just a knockout. Between Rock Block and Boss Man, Battle of Green, I'm going to give it to the Rock Block because they're sitting on the rack, and I stole these from one of the other rigs because I wanted to test the Boss Man. So the Boss Man gets edged out purely out of laziness. I don't have to unmount anything. I just bolt these back onto the rig that they came off of. Third up, Groundhog 2. X2SS is something you can almost always count on. We're getting at, so when this gentleman transfers his weight, he really throws it around, because every tire, all three tires that we've seen go up there, they just power wrinkle in the back when all that weight gets thrown down. Everybody does really well with that. The dig performance, despite some similarity in lug layout, I would say the dig performance is the worst on the Groundhog. And by the worst, I mean the least best. You see it get forced? I think that might be a wheel width. Like we go to the -10s. There it is. That was pretty okay. That was pretty okay. First to effectively do it. Let me get another entry from this side. That looked fantastic. Hook, edge, really good. Again, we get out off of Slick Rock. Groundhog's looking pretty good. Little hesitations there, a little bit of hops. Going through the middle, are we going to get caught out? Yeah. Oh, just a hair of overcompression in the back. We're losing a little bit of they also, well, on that narrow width, self-righting not so great. I'm also kind of watching them get mashed around on the wheels. They're sliding around a good bit. So this wheel tire combo, probably not the best. That's very nearly, this is the worst. They are so close in overall performance. Get across. There's just there's a sudden lack of stability, which I do not like. If it was informally between the rock block and the Groundhog, I would give it to rock block right now, but that's not how this works. All right, KLRs. This is what? Semifinals, right? Started with the quarters, then went to the semis. Final tire of the semis. There is a next level of precision right here. Of what we've seen so far, these feel the most. And in terms of dig, I would put them overall out of the 8, probably second, maybe second. Yeah, see that cut? It does right there. Are you kidding me? Are you? Stop making me get up. Whenever I think about things like body design, I wonder, when they designed this, did they think about that? Like, that you can perfectly balance a vehicle on the roof? There are ways to prevent that. Don't make the top of the roof just a flat plank. Yeah, that's really good. Not like it's a little bit of a sacrifice of stability. We feel like we're getting a little reckless. Do you know what I didn't even notice? And another point in the plus column for the KLRs, when I was trying to self-right it, I tried to add in a little bit more wheel speed by switching it into big overdrive. So that last ascent and all the way across here was all big OD. Really good. Really good. Oh. Yeah, it's KLRs versus rock blocks. We're going to run green line and we're going to make a decision. That's what we're going to do. The gnats are insane. Absolutely insane. It is like someone throwing the pocket sand right in your face. Right in your face. You can't even keep your eyes open. You have to blink rapidly and repeatedly in order to stop them from entering your actual eyeballs. And this is on 0. Well, 6. They're all over me. Does make it a little bit difficult to concentrate. Just the tiniest bit. Oh yeah, the I don't think it's the tire. I think Tranquish just doesn't self-right. Like, I've got the reverse turned down too far. See if we can get him back in frame. There he is. There he is. KLR versus Rock Block in the final. Each guy, single run through. Green line. And that will be the real determiner, because that's like this is the Gran Turismo license tests, where when you get to the final one, you got to run the whole thing. And this will show all the aspects. So, because they're already mounted, and the guy over there is taking a nap on his side, up first through green line, Ot6 KLR comp spec. So where we began our journey, 70-2170, is now 78-2650. We've gone up 8 degrees and lost about 20% of the humidity. Now the rocks are going to react more slowly than that in general. So it's not going to trend, like the rocks aren't just going to all of a sudden be hot. Like where he is right now in the shade, the sun has yet to fall on that spot yet. So we will hope that we can get through. I got pushed. How did he not knock that off? That was like a full rotation on that gate. Okay, that was a micro reverse, which we're not going to ding it because I forgot what I was doing. Yes, we're on a course where we are scoring it. So so there's a forgivable, a reverse that doesn't impact gate performance. There's a free one to the rock block because I just forgot where I was and I forgot what I was doing. On the drop, it's just crisp. It's real crisp. Oh, that's nice. Get through here. We got portals so we can slide that end, pull the nose back. Even if you keep walking, they will find you. Okay, definitely an unprepped surface here, so no tire is going to have an explicit advantage over the other. We're going to use all the tools. We've got them. This is the point. You use the dig, you use the overdrive. Okay, what I don't want to see is a push out of the front end. And there's the push out of the front end. Nope, it's going to have to be a reverse. It's got to be a careful one, too. Potential advantage to rock block, because now I know. Shift into big OD before you initiate that approach, and you can keep the front end a bit tighter onto the white side, which is also the right side. Just well together. Once again, gates 6 and 7 are often the deciders in these. We do the game, which is figure out where the squirrels, what markers have the squirrels knocked off, and where did they roll to. Gate 7 yellow ball was missing. Okay. Look at that cliff hang right there. Oh, don't. No. You got yourself right, dude. You got it. So we're on a 6. Oh, that's... Had we not fallen, we wouldn't know how good or bad it would do through there. And the nice drop and kept it real clean. Let's just hope he ends on a 6. To state this as universally, as metrically as possible, I would say that there are infinity bugs per cubic meter. It doesn't matter where I move to. They're just there. They're there waiting for my face. I must expel a lot of CO2 out of my face. Like my eyeballs must just pour CO2 into the atmosphere because they go for my eyeballs more than anything else. I have a terrible vantage point where I'm standing right now. I don't know why I didn't just cut down into the bottom of the valley right there. Oh, it's going to be so close. It's going to be another one of those things. It's going to be another one of those things. KLR comp specs with a 6. You could say it was an 8. If you want to count the reverse and the lava, I just equalized the two because we did take a reverse. We could call it a 7, halfway between the 6 and the 8. Either way, acceptable. Perhaps most importantly here, we've arrived at what is a pretty good place. We have 2 tires that did really quite well, and I have no personal preference as to which one of them gets mounted. If it's the rock block, great. If it's the KLR, also great. The rock block does, however, know that it is theirs to win or lose, because any gate strike and the run is over. Because even if we round, well, no, we rounded it to a 7, right? So if we rounded it to a 7, then it'll be even, and oh, please don't end in a tie. The drop. Yeah, I can't. I cannot even. It's like they were waiting for me to return to this spot, so we could have the decider here if we decide not to bungle it. Okay, keeping about the same approach line. Wanted to go wider right here. Cut back, we have to take the reverse. We have to take the reverse. I came in. I did not anticipate the rock block turning back in that much. That was an incredibly tight turn. That is one of the big risk factors of either changing rigs or changing tires midstream like that. He's sitting on a 2 and should fully be on a 0. But I said that we can only get a free reverse if it doesn't mean, like if it's not impactful to a gate. That was definitely impactful to a gate. That well and truly caught me off guard. It shot in. There's a feel here. Stay, stay, stay. There. Lock it, lock it. Don't push, don't push. It's a little bit of a Hannibal Smith right now, is it not? Do I love it when a plan comes together? That, I don't explicitly know from where the advantage arises, but nevertheless, that advantage has arisen. It is just that little bit better. A little spin there. got a little cavalier. Yeah, you better run, lizard. Now, don't bodge it at the end. Although I would not consider any strike here to be the tire, like right there. Nope, not the tire at all. Because we can come right back. Press through. Yeah. So it would if we were doing hard scoring, which, what? Okay. Did it show up on camera? A ball just rolled down. What ball is that? Maybe they do just fall off on their own, because I'm looking at the yellow one on 8 and 7 and 9, which we're about to go through. I have no idea where that ball came from. Yeah, I mean, if we were doing hardcore scoring, the KLR would have won this like 7-9, but that gate strike is not a gate strike. I had hung up the phone. The call was over. So do not think for even a moment that it was not close, because it absolutely was. It was very close. It really, realistically came down to feel. Both in terms of how Tranquish operated on one set of tires versus the other, as well as the feeling that I get that I have a suspicion of a rig here in the fleet that might sing a better song on the KLRs. It is so narrow. And yes, self-fulfilling prophecy? Potentially, to a degree. But would I deliberately handicap a rig specifically because I wanted to fit? Ugh. Yeah, I mean, I have in the past. But with an adequate amount of concentration, I think Tranquish does green line on a 0. A 0 was definitely in the cards. I ignore that gate strike, but I will take the 2 because I tried to cut it as fine with the KLR. Gate 4 was really what made the decision for me. I made the same exact cut that I attempted with the KLR, and it cut far more than I thought it would. Those directional asymmetricals, like, I'm enamored by a tire that has a left and a right. And those tires on there have not just a left and a right, but a front and a rear. So he has 4 different tires because of the inserts fitted, and they really do sing a song. I think he does need to go onto a bit wider of a wheel, whether it is a standard wheel like that, like on, say, a 14 millimeter hub, so he gets about 8 millimeters wider, or just going to the -10s, which get him about 10 millimeters wider. Or, follow me here, the -10s with like pancakes on them with 6 mils on them to kind of split the difference. He needs to be a little bit wider, I think, just to help out with his stability, and I don't think it'll compromise his ability to pass gates, because he is a class 2 guy. He is on the cab's wheels, I think. He's never been chosen. I'm pretty sure he's on the wheels, but I don't think he's ever been chosen. So the Tranquish, it came from the Workbench 1, has got his tires, and I'm pretty glad of it. I would have been happy with the KLRs. I would have been happy with any of them. What I'm most happy about is that the rock blocks did well enough to differentiate themselves from the others. I'm equally happy that you all came here out into the canyon to join us for this one. It is now, the sun is up above the trees, and the temperature is going to rise even faster. It's going to get real hot. Thank you for joining us. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. In between now and when we meet again, please one and all do your very best. Have a good run, everybody. We will see you again here from the canyon. Maybe the wheels will see fit to throw Tranquish into a cabs sometime in the nearer future. I don't know. No one can predict what the wheels are going to like. Out of that field of 8, the rock blocks come away the winner. And now we have a bunch of other tires that we can use in tests for other vehicles to see what they like. And I hope you tune in to see some of those, that, it, them, some of thems. I'll see you next time. Thank you for being here. That's all I've got.